That's about all. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I believe. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. We will call the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security to order. Have roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
I'm present, thank you.
Commissioner Clemente.
Here.
Commissioner Dobb.
Here.
Chair Garza.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
B, Chair's remarks.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone for being flexible, having committee down here today while we take care of some issues in our committee room. And also want to thank Prosecutor Worthy and her staff for being here today as well. We appreciate you for coming down. Next item, please.
C, approval of the October 15th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry, supported by Commissioner Wilson for approval. Please vote on your tablets. Or actually, they have the tablets today?
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item, please.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving on to new business, item 1. Requesting commission approval of amendment 1 to a 3-year contract with a 2-year option to renew with Lake Ridge Village to support vendor expenditures for a jail-based treatment readiness program for adult males in the county jail.
Right. Welcome, sir. Can you hit that button? Hit that button for us. There you go.
All right. Sorry about that. Lester Thomas, Administrator, Adult Community Corrections, to this board, the chair. We're here to request an approval of this amendment that basically will allow us to renew contract to increase by $60,000 so we can pay our vendor that provides jail support to our program that's in the jail for treatment for a program for adult males in the county jail.
Are there any questions from commissioners on this item? Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you. I do have a question as it regards to the workman's comp, the insurance piece. Has Lake Ridge been able to secure that, or are we waiting on that before we can move forward?
Actually, they were able to secure it and they provided it to us.
Perfect, thank you. And then the last piece is I was trying to follow the calculations for what was initially given versus outstanding invoices. I know there was some back and forth around that. So the initial amount was like $253,300, correct?
That's correct. And we have approximately 40,000 outstanding invoices, at least 40,000 outstanding invoices. That's
Okay.
That's what the request is for.
Got it, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any additional questions from commissioners? All right, thank you, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate it. And we'll have a motion by Commissioner Wilson, supported by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry for approval. Please vote on your tablets.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for the fiscal year 2026 responsive services for victims of crime program.
Thank you. We'll take items 2, 3, and 4 together. Tony, how are you, sir?
Tony Guerrero, on behalf of the Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, who is present. I'm Chief of Legislation, Grants, and Community Relations. You have before you on number 2 is a grant agreement between Wayne County and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, not to exceed $731,000 $384, fortunately with no county match required. This will be part of the fiscal year 2026 Responsive Services for Victims of Crime program. It funds 7 social science specialists and 1 clerical specialist for the prosecutor's office.
Thank you. Are there any questions on item 2 on the agenda? Okay, we can move on to the next.
Going on to item 3 with your permission, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
These, by the way, are just part and parcel of what I say over and over again, that Prosecutor Worthy chases down every grant that we can get our hands on in order not to put a strain on the general fund. Item number 3, this is a 1-year grant agreement between Wayne County and the Department of Health and Human Services, not to exceed $168,491, again with no county match required. This is for the fiscal year 2026 Sexual Assault Victims' Rights Program. This will fund 2 sexual assault victim advocates for the prosecutor's office. And I should have said before, the term of this agreement will be October 1, 2025 to September 30th of 2026. The same was for item number 2. If there are any questions.
Any questions from commissioners on this item? No, you can go on to item 4, Tony. Thank
I'll
you.
move on to number 4. This is a grant agreement we're seeking your approval and the commission's approval of. It is with the Wayne County and the Department of Health and Human Services, not to exceed $1,324,916, again, with no county match required, for the fiscal year 2026 Crime Victim Rights Program to focus on the implementation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act of 1985. This grant will cover the cost of 9 victim advocates, a social worker, a project manager, and 2 department supervisors in the prosecutor's office. The term of the agreement will be from October 1 of 2025 to September 30th of 2026.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners on item 4? Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you, Tony. As it, through the chair, as it goes with all of these, very necessary work. So it's really exciting to see. I wish we didn't have a need for this, but we know that we do. These individuals, they will only be dedicated to this body of work and the scope and services of work that have been identified.
That's correct. The
Thank you so
terms of
much.
the grant require us to report exactly what they're doing, and they're only allowed to be paid if they're doing work on these particular subjects.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional questions from commissioners on any of the 3 items? I just wanted to state, Tony, and for the prosecutor as well, we thank you for all the work you do surrounding grants, especially the ones that don't require a county match. We appreciate as well. But all of the grant work you all do has been amazing, and we appreciate all the work you do on it. So thank you. All right, next up, or actually we got to vote on these. We have a motion by Commissioner Clementi, supported by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry. Please vote on your tablets.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Moving to item 5, a presentation by Prosecutor Kim Worthy on the City of Detroit handling some misdemeanor prosecutions that the prosecutor's office otherwise would have handled.
Thank you. We'll welcome Prosecutor Worthy. Yes, please do. If anyone does that shouldn't, we'll call you. But yeah, please, anyone who'd like to join her as well from her office. I just want to say thank you to Prosecutor Worthy and her staff for joining us today. We were asked by Chair Bell to have the prosecutor come in when at her discretion to speak to the City of Detroit handling of some misdemeanor prosecutions internally outside of the county prosecutor's office. So I wanted to make sure we had Prosecutor Worthy and her staff address this at this committee. So we welcome Prosecutor Worthy.
Thank you very much. Yes, Chair Bell did ask me to come and address you. And if you want me to take it further to the full board, just let me know. This is mainly informational. to let you know that we've been doing what we've been doing here. And then we have another part of the presentation, which Carmen Farmer from my office will join me and make that presentation as well. So this has to do, as you said, Chair Garza, with the misdemeanor ordinance being passed around to you right now. And this is an effort actually I started about 2.5 years ago. And when we look around the office, I know we all try to do with our own offices, we try to be as efficient as we can. And I try very hard to cut the corners, and I don't mean in a bad way, so that we can focus on what we should be focusing on, and that's on violent crime. Not that we shouldn't focus on other type of crime, but we really want to put an emphasis on violent crime. And so I have been going around the county for years, and I have gone to every single city, municipality, or township in the county, meeting with the mayors, chief of police, sometimes judges, sometimes council people or supervisors, whoever may come, just addressing them and keeping abreast of everything that we do in the office. And sometimes some of the commissioners have been at some of these meetings as well. And so one of the things I've talked about for years is making my office really focus on felonies. And so as we talked about this through the city attorney's office, every other city, and I believe I'm correct in this, every other city in the county does this already. So it's just the city of Detroit that was not doing this. And I harken back to 2007, I believe, when I talked to then Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick about the fact that Detroit did not have a drunk driving one ordinance. And even though revenue is not the main focus of this, the city was losing millions and millions of dollars of revenue because we didn't have the ordinance and we were doing the work. And so even though we receive credit, but a lot of good things can be done if you don't care who receives the credit, we wrote the ordinance and shepherded it through. So this is around the same thing that we want to do here. So we spend an inordinate amount of time, and this is not a good use of our time or resources in doing this, in prosecuting lower level misdemeanors and very few lower level felonies. So I give you an example. I will have an assistant prosecuting attorney, an APA, who will be in a jury trial for a week and a half over a property dispute. Basically, you have two neighbors that are fighting. It turned into an assault and battery because the property line was I'm exaggerating a little bit, 1 milliliter over where it should be, and they've got the big fight in it, and then we have to do a jury trial for a week and a half. I would rather have that prosecutor preparing for more serious cases when all of the cities, and I say this again because this is crucial, all of the cities in Wayne County already do this themselves. So the city attorney should be doing the lower level misdemeanors like the assault and battery. Why is the prosecutor's office, who does anywhere from 18,000 to 22,000 cases a year, spending an ounce of time and resources doing a retail fraud first, where someone has gone into a store and stolen $200 worth of meat? Or a girlfriend got mad at a girlfriend, or a husband and wife got mad at each other, and they keyed the car, malicious destruction of property, under $500. And we're spending time doing those cases when the city attorneys can do that. So I would rather focus on the murders, the rapes, the robberies, and on those kinds of things. Now, it's not going to free up a lot of my staff because I don't have that many staff doing these misdemeanor cases. But what it does do, and we looked at the numbers, there are thousands of cases where we have to look at these cases individually. Malicious destruction of property, some of the things I've mentioned, where we're looking at it, doing the research, doing the time and attention as to whether we're going to charge these cases. Well, we're still going to charge them, but now the city of Detroit will be doing them through their legal counsel office. And so it took, like I said, about 1.5 years or more for us to get this around the county, to let them know this is what we wanted to do. I was shocked when I found out the other cities were already doing it. And I knew they were to some extent. And so the city of Detroit was not. So just to skip all over the last 1.5 years, so it did pass city council last month. It was last month. And so it is something that's going to go forward. So the city of Detroit will be doing the vast majority of their own misdemeanors, which they should have been doing all along. So there's certain misdemeanors we're not going to allow them to do. Domestic violence, for obvious reasons. Domestic violence, stalking, cases like, even though we don't get very many in a year, possession of a firearm when you're intoxicated, because that leads to other things. So there is a list in the documents we gave you. There's a list of the exact crimes that the city will be now doing. Now, sadly, or maybe not sadly, there is a preparation time. It's going to be at least 1 year, most likely, or more, before this is all set up. They have to get into our computer system. They have to do other things as well. And so it's going to be, again, about 1 year or more before this is actually started happening. So that's kind of the gist of what we're doing. Again, we started about a year and a half working on this because I didn't understand why we should be wasting resources, not wasting, I don't mean to say wasting because those cases are important to everybody. But using our resources when the city has resources that can be used, and they will be getting resources as a result of this legislation that passed to be able to carry this out. So again, I think it's another example of us trying to be good stewards of the money that you entrust me with. I'm sure you hear it from your constituents all the time about crime in their communities, et cetera, and we want to be able to focus on that.
Thank you, Prosecutor Worthy. We appreciate that presentation and explanation about this. Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding this or what the prosecutor presented on this issue so far? It looks like you did a good job, Madam Prosecutor. Appreciate that.
Wasn't easy getting it through City Council, but it happened.
Yes, process, absolutely. All right, you can continue if you'd like to. I think it looks like you don't have questions right now, so.
This is Carmen Farmer, who we did a really big search. You can come sit here.
Yeah, you can sit right here next to her.
Who did a really big search to try to find the right project manager for something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, I've talked to you individually and collectively about this for probably since 2005. And just to give a little bit of context, and she's going to give you some deeper context. We had a teen court program, which I talked about during my hearing. And so it's, as I said before, it's not as robust as it used to be, and we want to ramp that back up, but we need cooperation from people I won't mention now that we need cooperation from. And so this is kind of based on that. And we think it's a restorative justice type program. And I know we're all really big on restorative justice, and I think we should be, and I always have been since I had this job since 2004. And basically it's a community empowerment. And like I said, Ms. Farmer is going to go through some more detail, but basically it's community empowerment. We will have defendants who are charged with lower level crimes. We will have them plead guilty, of course, if they want to. And then basically the community deciding what the sentence should be. I can give you some quick examples, but again, I know I hired the right person. I know I think she was one of the first people that we talked to. And she came in and I said, well, this is hers to lose, basically, because she was that dedicated, she was that focused, she was that passionate. And one of the things she said that stuck with me, she was looking for a project to do where she could feel passionate and good about what she was doing. And I think I'm paraphrasing that correctly. And so basically, we're empowering the community to make these decisions themselves. People from certain communities know their community better than anybody else. They know what needs help. They know what they can, they know defendants to do. So it can be anywhere from requiring the defendants involved to shovel the snow or to rake the leaves of our senior citizens in the neighborhood. It could be fixing the neighborhood park. It could be removing tires. It could be doing anything. So instead of jail or prison for these particular defendants, we want them to give back and give back to the community that they victimized. So I know I've talked to many of you about this. I have loved this program since I heard about a rendition of that back in 2005. And certainly all of you, maybe unknowingly, have funded this for me. And I say that because we cobbled together from some other savings that we have through grants and other things to put this together. We hope it will be sustainable. We know it will be sustainable with her in charge and with your support. All of you, I wrote a letter. Well, I say Carmen wrote a letter, changed around just a teeny bit to you about a steering committee and about being involved from the top of all this. I know many of you have already responded, and those of you who haven't, please respond, because we know that you're interested in this program, and maybe even maybe one of your communities will be a part of the selection process. So we're a long way off from that. One thing that Carmen has made me understand, because I'm saying I want to do this now, I want to have people plead guilty, I want to have these communities now, but the infrastructure has to be built, and the work so we want it to be sustainable. We want, at the end of the day, to be able to expand this throughout the entire county. So this is Carmen, and she's going to give you some good points and some detail. And like I said in the letter, if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to her. And certainly we invite you to be a part of the steering committee. What's the other group?
Project Champion.
The project champion of this event. So she'll talk about that.
Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for having me once again. As Prosecutor Worthy already mentioned, letters were mailed out to each of you to express your interest to join the steering committee. really more so for you guys to be able to share with your networks. So if you know people that may be a great fit to help develop the infrastructure for the program, please share it out widely so that I can establish a diverse committee to help us steer the project well. And I'll just begin to talk a little bit more about the project. So as mentioned, over the course of the next 18 months, the prosecutor's office will work to develop a community court system for Wayne County. Community courts provide an effective, equitable, and community-centered approach to justice. Using a problem-solving model, we'll work to integrate restorative justice principles by engaging the community and provide low-level offenders with alternative sentencing and individualized social service plans. Some of the project objectives include addressing root causes of crime through access to social services and community support, building sustainable partnerships with service providers, civic organizations, and residents, and promoting equity and justice by reducing barriers and expanding access to resources for underserved communities. Anticipated outcomes include increased civic participation, increased access to supportive services for individuals in the justice system, and reduced recidivism for repeat offenders amongst participants. Some of the ways we'll work to actually achieve this and execute the program will be broken up into 3 project phases. The first being strategic planning, followed by infrastructure planning, and lastly, providing training and technical assistance to communities. The first phase, strategic planning, includes all of the key components that will be necessary to make the project a success, such as development of a project plan, establishing key metrics and milestones, outreach plan, project monitoring, et cetera. The goal for the strategic planning phase is to really make sure that we thought out as many things as possible so that we can anticipate any challenges and figure out how we can best mitigate them ahead of time. During this phase, it's also my goal to establish a steering committee for the project, and that'll help us basically navigate any of the project intricacies and to help bridge vision and process throughout the lifetime of the project. The second phase of the, well, not of the project, but the second component of the strategic planning phase will be to actually go out to the community and develop community impact panels. The community impact panels will be members of the community that will help to facilitate restorative justice dialogue between offenders and the community. The community will begin to serve as a face for their community during this time. So a lot of the times there may not be an actual victim that was hurt by the offender, but rather the voice will have their community hurt. The community will have their voice heard, so that they can really begin to talk about how the offender's actions implicated and really hurt the community. And together we'll work together to build up a plan so that the offender can restore their harm caused. Members of the impact panel will also serve as voice in their community once again to help identify any community needs and resource opportunities, which will be the technical assistance portion of the program. Phase 2 will be the infrastructure planning phase, and here's where I'll begin to source appropriate neighborhood facilities. Ideally, I would like them to have in-house wraparound services so that when we're developing a treatment plan or an action plan for the defendants, they don't have to go 5 miles away to receive supportive services. Ideally, I would like them to be provided in-house so they can just go down the hall and schedule any appointments that they need, or we can work together to develop a community service plan to be able to really get to the root causes through the social services, to provide them with the wraparound services and resources. And in this phase, I'll also begin to work to coordinate social service partnerships, as mentioned, intake pathways with the steering committee, and any standard operating procedures that will be necessary to help run the community court smoothly. The last phase would be training and technical assistance. Here is where we anticipate onboarding training partners, staff, and any community liaisons. During this time, I'll also be conducting competency training. So restorative justice facilitation training will take place to community members so that they know how to properly facilitate dialogue between the offenders and community members. And during this phase, I'll also be preparing for a pilot run and project launch, and ongoing training opportunities will be provided for a community based on their needs assessment during the strategic planning phase. Does anyone have any immediate questions?
Excellent. I do have a couple questions before we get to our members. So how do the district courts kind of come into play here? I know, of course, we have many district courts across the county. How do you interact with them, and is there buy-in on their level that's needed for this to happen within our individual communities, or how does that work?
Yes, there will be buy-in. This is our first presentation. We wanted to bring this to you first for many reasons, and my ulterior motive is that when we get started, I'm going to be asking for this to be further funded. So I wanted you to hear it from me first before you hear it from anybody else. So yes, we have to, just like the teen court, we have to have buy-in from the court system. Now, whether it's a district court or the circuit court, it's going to depend on the crime and the level where it is. So let's say a defendant chooses to be a part of this program early on at the district court level. Then there'll be the district court judges that will be involved. Let's say that they go on and they don't want to do it right away, or it's passed on or bound over to the circuit court, then it'll be a circuit court judge that will go on from there. Yep.
So just to add to that as well, so that's really the importance of the steering committee. So we have mailed out similar letters that you all received from the commissioners to different chief judges over the district. So, ideally, I would love for them to participate on the steering committee as well, so that they can begin to champion a project and also be a partner in issuing referrals. So once we actually get to that part of the project phase, they'll already be fully aware of it. They can share it with stakeholders that they have. And then, hopefully we'll be able to route referrals in that way.
Thank you. All right, we have a question from Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you. And thank you, Carmen, for meeting with me. I know I had a lot of questions at that time. And so it's good to see where we are with this. And, I think this is long overdue. So, Madam Prosecutor, thank you so much, because a lot of times you either set the bar and it becomes a best practice, or you find an existing best practice and you make it better. And I think in the space where restorative justice is something that we need to wrap our arms around, this is a very tangible way to do this in the community. And I also am excited about the fact that as commissioners, we can make recommendations, as oftentimes we're the boots on the ground to know kind of who those people are that may need to be in certain spaces. It looks like that there are levels of engagement and involvement. So again, I guess I've already claimed that I'm an advocate of the program and a champion, but I look forward to getting into that phase, more importantly about like, how do we take it from paper to practice? And so I look forward to the check-ins with you. Thank you so much.
But if I could add through the chair. So we are going to have, for lack of a better word, a bidding process when we get to that point. And we hope to have 3 particular pilots in 3 different areas of Wayne County. And that's going to take some time. And it's going to be quite a distance before we can get there. Because like I said, Ms. Farmer is going to make sure we do it the right way so it's sustainable. And hopefully one day my vision is down the road, we'll be able to have sites in other different areas. So.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Prosecutor. Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you, Chair Garza. You sort of answered my question, or should I say asked my question, Chair Garza. So I just wanted to briefly say that I think this is an excellent idea. It's great to give our citizens an opportunity who are not engaged in serious crimes, a chance to give back to the community through restorative justice, if you will. So I say that to say this. I think Chair Garza talked about the courts and our interaction with the courts. Ironically, in undergraduate school, I had a class called Victim Offender Mediation. So victim offender mediation obviously gives the magistrate an opportunity to provide an option to the defendant, whether or not the magistrate, he or she makes the determination, or whether or not the victim and the offender get into a mediation environment where they can craft an agreement in terms of determining what type of activity this individual should do to give back to the community, whether it's painting a house or cutting the grass or replacing windows or putting a roof on the house. So I say all that to say this: is this some form of mediation, or is it how's that going to play into the jurisprudence as far as a third party neutral intervener is concerned?
So it's not, well, in a sense it will be, because they will be trained in how to quote unquote mediate between the offender and the community. But not mediation the way that you're thinking. But Commissioner Wilson, you may not know that, but the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office does have a mediation-based program already. It's called Talk It Out. It's through the juvenile court.
Correct.
And that is where we used to get, not to elaborate too much, but that's where we used to get so many phone calls. And it was actually started by a case that happened that was unfortunate on our part, that we didn't handle correctly at the time. And this is what, 5 years ago now. And so as a result of that, we have often police officers who were getting called to a school or to a church or to other areas where they're having lower level dispute with juveniles. And instead of it going through the court system, we have a mediation panel that comes forward that's trained by the Wayne County Dispute Resolution Center. It's called something else now, and I apologize to them. They have a different name. And we train the mediators to handle these cases. The parents and the juvenile must be involved. And the most important thing about the program, the victim has to be involved. And so they have to be able to accept or reject whatever the mediation, but the mediation really together as a global unit. And they will let the juvenile know what they have to do, whether it's attend school or whatever they need to do. And then it's pre-charged, so we do not charge. So that's another way of keeping cases out of the system, to give juveniles an opportunity to maybe mess up at first, but then if they do what they're supposed to do, they won't have a record. So there's another kind of, but we do have that. It's called Talk It Out. And maybe the next thing I should do, Chair Garza, is actually bring the people in that run that program and give you some examples, and maybe we can do that as well. But yes, it's kind of mediation based, but not really.
Okay, thank you, Prosecutor Worthy. And just as a follow-up, the recidivism rate has been determined to be lower for individuals who actually are involved in crafting a decision or determination with the victim and the offender. So does that still hold true now? Because I think it's great when you can reduce recidivism. I mean, that's what our whole objective is. You don't want to, give an individual a penalty that's decided by a magistrate, and within a few weeks later or a couple of months later, they're back in front of the same magistrate again for the same offense. So I think that's the powerful part about it. Yep. Is that 92%, I think, or 93% studies show that individuals who are engaged in crafting a decision that's going to impact them, they would not be more, I guess, they would not repeat that penalty if they're the ones who are involved in crafting, right? So if I say I'm not going to do something, you and I both agree, I'm the victor, you offender, then 9 times out of 10 are not going to do it, or 90% of the time. So does that still hold true today?
I think it does. And with the holistic approach and the global approach that Ms. Farmer is taking and setting this program up and developing the infrastructure,
okay,
we will be able to tell, because we'll have some data at the end of the day. And I guess the best way for me to answer that question is, Commissioner Wilson, you weren't around then, but you were around, but you weren't a commissioner then. You've been around forever.
Yeah.
But you weren't on the commission then. We used to do these child care fund programs through the county, and we were a pass-through. And one thing that the juvenile court does well is we have all the numbers that show, as a result of our various diversionary programs, how many people did not reoffend. And we had a very, very high rate of success. The problem with that all is you cannot measure a negative. So we can't tell you how many people did not get in trouble because of the services that they provided through our programs. So.
Thank you very much. Great answer. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
All right, I'm clear.
We'll definitely have Talk It Out at a future committee. I think that'd be great.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Any other commissioners' questions for Ms. Farmer? She's paused for questions. So, all right, looks like we don't have any questions at the time. If you want to continue.
Anything?
I'm done.
Okay.
You're good? Okay.
So once again, I am so happy that she came to our attention, and I've tried to speed her up at a couple of meetings, and so she's probably going to slow me back down. But because I want to see this work, I want to see it out there. But the most important thing is I want to see it succeed, and I want to see it expanded. And again, I will be coming back to you probably at the next budget hearing, asking for this to be even more funded, because we're going to need staff. So you heard it here first. So thank you for always allowing me to come and speak with you. I think it's very important that I learned a long time ago that instead of coming at budget time asking for what I need, because I always try to stick to what I need and not what I want. I've broken that rule a couple times though. That you have a full understanding of what the programs are and the things that we need before budget time. It's kind of like, campaigning all the time and not just when it's time for you to be reelected. You want people to understand the reasons why you're doing things, understand the reason why you're asking for these funds, understand the reason and the results that you want, and make sure we're of the same accord. And so thank you and we'll come back and talk it out and a few other things I want to come to talk to you about. But thank you for always having me and making time to hear what we have to say.
Thank you, Prosecutor Worthy. I appreciate that. One of the things that I remember working in the legislature was community courts and speaking pretty extensively with now State Representative Tanya Myers Phillips about some of the work that she's done as well. And so I did sign up for the steering committee this morning. So I look forward to working with you all as well on that. So,
And Chair Garza, if you have anyone in the legislature from your legislative days that you think might be interested in this, please let us know.
absolutely. Absolutely will.
I think they're an important piece of this.
Absolutely, for sure. Any additional questions or comments from commissioners before we allow the prosecutor to? All right, thank you, Madam Prosecutor.
very much.
Appreciate you. Next item, please.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Not aware of any. Next item, please.
G, public comments.
Right, we are now in the public comments portion of our committee meeting. Are there any interested members on Zoom who would like to address this committee today? Please unmute yourselves now and make your public comments. Okay, any emails received?
No emails were received.
Great. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to make public comment at this time, please step up to the podium and do so now. All right, all forms of public comment going once, twice. Public comments are now closed. Next item, please.
Adjournment.
All right, we have a motion adjourned by Commissioner Peterson Mayberry, supported by Commissioner Clementi. We are now adjourned.